I created my own fictional city just to write a book, and in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did it. Hey, what's up guys? It's LDJ Writes here, and welcome back to another writing vlog. It's been a few weeks since I've, came up with an idea to film another writing vlog for my novel Court of Rooks. Since Camp Nano ended, I didn't really have any ideas on what I wanted to film and talk about regarding the project because I've got no writing count goals anymore. I kind of just am trying to finish this first draft. But recently I was in a live stream and someone asked me how I made the map of my city, which I showed in the first episode of the first Court of Rooks vlog, basically. And it got me thinking about the actual city as a whole because I have the details of it in my head, but I've not written it down anywhere. And I feel like that's been tripping me up as I've been writing because the city of Blackriver is its own character. It plays a very big role in the larger story. So I feel like I need to get all the details and stuff mapped out in more concrete, because even today when I was looking at my map, I realized that it kind of doesn't make sense for where I imagine it to be in the context of America. And I'll get into that later on, but I ended up changing the coast. It was on the Pacific Northwest, now it's on the Northeast. So yeah, basically in this video, I'm going to be diving into this document that I had ChatGPT come up with to help me further flesh out the city of Blackriver. And in this video, I'll just be going through it. I'll be filling it out, coming up with stuff to flesh out my city, showing you guys mood boards and images that I'm associating with my city, what I expect it to look like, what I'm modeling it after, architecture and just stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you guys my process for creating a city, and hopefully it can help you guys if you guys are doing the same. So yeah, let's get into my template. Okay, so I had ChatGPT come up with a world building document, I guess. That's what it says up here. World building document for my city of Blackriver. And I typed in all the stuff that I had already came up with, like the name, the nickname, which is darkest city in America, its climate, because I have the climate figured out. There's 9 districts in the city, so I typed that in down here. And actually, let me go through what's even in this document before I start talking about what's been filled out. So I told ChatGPT to come up with a world building document to help me flesh out my city so I can learn more about it. So what it came up with is there's an area for general overview, which has all these stuff the general things you need to know about a city, location, where it is. It's now in Connecticut. It used to be in one of the Pacific Northwest states. I hadn't actually decided on which one, but now I've decided that it is in Connecticut. And its nickname is the darkest city in America. Climate, rainy, snowy, stuff like that. Population, I have yet to determine. Economy, also have yet to determine, but because it's a seaside city kind of, so I would imagine one of its largest exports would be fishing. So that would probably be one of its key industries. I would be fishing and entertainment. So those are the 2 things I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, that's what's in general overview. And then it came up with a section for the history, which is, founding, historical events, notable figures, evolution. And then we get architecture, city layout. City layout then goes into the districts. There are 9 districts. I've shown them when I was showcasing the map of the city in my first vlog, but just to go over it again because it's been a while since I've shown that. And they're in order of prosperity and not in order of when they were created. I had ChatGPT order it in highest to lowest prosperity levels of the districts. So it goes downtown, Old Town, Angels Crossing, Silver Gardens, 7 Crowns, Red Wharf, the Docks, Shadow Park, which is where my main character Dominic is from, and the Knot. The Knot is the most porous, dangerous area in the entire city. It's also where my other character, Morgana Moody, who is more so the secondary protagonist, I guess, that's where she's from. So I had to fill in all this stuff. I still have to fill in landmarks because I do have landmarks that are in the book, but I didn't actually write down or anything. So I have to fill that out in here. There's notable residents. I can fill that out later. And then it came up with government and politics, which is also very important in context of my book because the corruption that goes on throughout the government and all the institutions within Blackriver is very central to the plot. So I definitely have to spend some time on that. And then, as I just said, crime and corruption is a very big part of Blackriver. I have to do some more research in what like numbers I want to put in here, like statistics. And I do have a certain amount of gangs and syndicates and, you know, mob bosses who are present throughout the city. So that's what'll go here. Corruption institutions, stuff like that. It's already in here. Notable criminal figures. I guess that would kind of be the same as key players. So I'm not sure if I'll keep this section, but that's what's in crime and corruption. Next up, we got economy and industry, which I think it kind of touched on earlier, but economy and industry is pretty important. It's not that important to my story, but I feel like it's important for me to eventually build a culture in society, which is the next part, because I feel like what your city produces and kind of like what kind of job infrastructure you have kind of influences your culture a bit. So these two are kind of linked, and I guess that's probably why they're right next to each other. But just to look at culture and society real quick, we got demographics, cultural institutions, festivals and events. That's something I actually want to dive into because I kind of want to create maybe a holiday or like a festival or a parade that goes on in the city that will show up towards the end of my book. I kind of have an idea of like an action set piece where Dominic is chasing the killer throughout this parade that happens in the wintertime like area of the city. So gotta spend some time thinking about that. We got social issues, which is a very big part of the city, and then education, which is not that important. None of my characters are in college or anything. So yeah. And then we got transportation and infrastructure. I do know that there is a subway, or not a subway, it would be a train, like how Chicago has an above ground train system. It would be something like that through Blackriver. Not sure about subways. I would have to think some more about that, but got roads and highways, utilities and services, notable infrastructure projects. And then next up, we got environment and natural features. I've never actually been to Connecticut, so I don't really know what it looks like in terms of like geographical stuff. So I got to do a little bit more research in that. But next, it put important characters related to Blackriver. I don't really think I need to fill this out for this video because this is not really about the city. And same, and then future of Blackriver, potential changes, sequel or spin-off ideas. Yeah, I don't need to do that in this video either. But yeah, that's pretty much how the document looks. And I'll just probably check in when I come up with something cool or I have something I want to show you. But this is basically how I'm going to be fleshing out my city that I created for my mystery thriller book. And yeah, I feel like these are all important things that you need to know if you are world building a city, whether it be a modernized city like I'm making, or even if you're making a fantasy city or a science fiction city, or basically a city or a planet or anything in any genre. I feel like you need a document like this, not exactly like this, but you know, just something to give you a frame of reference whenever you are writing so that you can keep things consistent and cohesive. And I feel like this helps when it comes to describing things or like incorporating the city into the story. So I just feel like you should have a document like this. It doesn't have to be on Obsidian, which is what I'm using. It's a note-taking app if you've never heard of Obsidian. I am thinking about doing a video on how I use Obsidian for my writing because I've recently just started getting into it and it's been really helpful. But like I was saying, your document doesn't have to be in Obsidian. It doesn't even have to be a document like online. You could just have it in your notebook. Like for instance, this is my Court of Rooks notebook. I do all my chapter outlines in here. But like if you wanted to put all your information about your city in a notebook, you could go ahead and do that too. I just think you should, oops, I accidentally just hit my monitors, but I just think you should have some of the information written down so that you can reference it whenever you need to. Okay, so instead of going in order, because the first tab on here is general overview, I actually did fill this out. So actually, let me go over that first. All I did was put the population. I did some research on other cities in Connecticut and just generally how big a city has to be to have districts and big enough to have different cultures within these 9 districts. I've wanted Blackriver to be a moderately large city. So 300,000 to 325,000 people is the range. And the economy, I have to fix this tab, but that's what I wanted to. Actually, that's why it's like this, because instead of going in order, I decided to jump all the way to the economy tab and fill it out. So yeah, as you can see, I did a lot for this tab because I felt like it was kind of important for my characters and like the stuff that's affecting them, because while this is a mystery thriller book and it's mainly about the case and the serial killer, I do kind of give a glimpse into these people's lives because they are people and they are living in this city, which is kind of, you know, fucked up. I thought this would have been a good place to start. So key industries for Blackriver is fishing, because it is on the coast. So fishing would be a huge industry. It's what found the city. So like a lot of the city's roots and culture is based around fishing and shipping and manufacturing down here. It's a blue collar city, as it says right there. And then another industry that kind of developed over time is the entertainment industry within Blackriver. It's got a great nightlife. If it was a real city, I would say you could visit for the nightlife, but there would be certain areas I would tell you to stay away from. So entertainment's a big industry, tourism is a big industry. I still have to fill out this part because I came up with it as I was writing this one. And then aside from entertainment and tourism, we've got Archangel Industries. They get their own tab because Archangel Industries is a multi-billion-dollar medical and technology systems conglomerate, and they have recently moved into Blackriver, setting up their headquarters in downtown. Because of this, they've brought a lot of money into the city, but they've also brought a whole slew of problems that actually get addressed in my book. One of the characters, Lena Carvajal, who is running for mayor, is actually campaigning to kind of limit the influence Archangel Industries will have on the city going forward if she is elected. So that's like one of the plot points, one of the many plot points that I'm juggling, and some of the stuff may get cut out in the edit, but yeah. So these are like the main industries. And then employment, it's kind of just divided into the blue collar workforce and then white collar employment. Economic challenges, we've got economic disparity because of Archangel Industries, but also it started before them, but it was just exacerbated by their arrival in the city. We've got dependence on traditional industries like the shipping, manufacturing, the blue collar jobs, because they're deeply embedded into the city and the city would probably collapse without them, but they're slowly being pushed out and eroded in the culture of the city because of the arrival of new industries like Archangel and the growing entertainment and tourism. And then we got cost of living, you know, that comes with growing cities. Cost of living goes up. I'm from Los Angeles, so I already know how gentrification and cost of living is going in my area because we're getting new stadiums and new businesses and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of inspired this part of the city, even though it is on the East Coast. I feel like gentrification happens in a lot of metropolitan cities. And then I'll just quickly scroll through the notable businesses. We got the Knight's Gambit. It's a clubhouse and it's also the headquarters of the Rooks, which are probably the most prominent crime syndicate in the city. They kind of run things from the underground. Their leader, Jasper Blackwell, is a suspect in the case. Then we got Archangel Tower. It's just the headquarters for Archangel Industries. Haven't actually put this in the book yet, but I just felt like it was important to have since Archangel has such a strong grip on the city. We got Blackriver Fisheries Company. We got Crimson Shores Shipping Company. These are the two like staples in the community. These give people a lot of jobs, but they're not very high paying jobs, but you know, what can you do? We got Angels Crest Hospital and Angels Crossing. It's probably the largest it's the largest hospital in Blackriver. We got a casino and resort to be named. It's in 7 Crowns. And then we got the Shadow Market, which is like an open air market, kind of a black market. The cops tend to stay out of it. Shadow Park is where my main character Dominic's from, as I've probably said 100 times already, but just got to make sure you guys know. But yeah, these are like the main businesses. There's other businesses, but these are the ones that actually get name dropped in the book so far. I'll go about filling in these other tabs and I'll check back in when I've come up with something worth talking about. Okay, so I'm actually recording this on the next day, as you can see by my change of shirt, and I decided to fill out the rest of my world building document offline because there was a lot of research that I had to do, and I was doing a lot of consulting with ChatGPT to help me flesh out the, the more boring parts of the outline, whatever I'm calling the template, I guess. So I did that off screen because it was a lot of me like just typing out random stuff and trying to figure out where I wanted to take this city in terms of idea and culture and its political structure and government and stuff like that. So I spared you guys that boring section of the video and I'll just scroll through what I did. I went through city layout and architecture, Since this city is in Connecticut, which is like in New England, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Connecticut is a part of New England. But because of that, it has a mixture of old architecture like Victorian, Edwardian architecture, and it also has more modernized buildings, especially when you get into the center of the city. As you spread out, the buildings get older and older. So that's kind of how I want the city to look. So that's what I did for architecture. I went through the whole 9 districts because there are 9 districts in the city. And I went through each how they all look because they all have their own vibe, their own different feel to them. So yeah, I did that. Didn't really fill out anything for notable landmarks yet because I just haven't come up with anything, but I will eventually, but I'm leaving that blank for now. I broke down the 9 districts in terms of prosperity, characteristics, landmarks, and notable residents. Went through government and politics. I'll probably not spend too much time on this. Who wants to talk about politics? It's pretty boring, but in the context of the city, it's unique in the sense of its mayor can potentially run until they die, as long as they keep getting reelected. So that's one of the plot points in the book. The mayor who presents himself like a great upstanding man and who claims to want the best for the city is actually not that great of a person, but he's been in charge for so long that the city is just familiar with him at this point. But someone is challenging his reign. So that's one of the main plot points of the book that my character has to navigate around. And then just all the different government departments, blah, blah, blah. Political climate, don't need to get into that too much. Political issues, again, I'm just going to skip past some of that stuff. If you guys end up using this template, you guys can fill that out to your liking, or you can just skip it if you want to. It depends on what you're writing about and whether or not it's relevant. Also, I went over economy and industry already, so I'll skip that part. Culture and society was pretty fun to do. I went through the demographics. Blackriver is a melting pot. I love cities like that have so many different cultures and they just mash together. Cultural influences, cuisine, festivals and events was pretty fun to think about. Specifically for my story, towards the end, there's an action set piece that takes place during a parade. At least that's what I wanted to happen, but I was like, what kind of parade do I want to have happen? And I didn't want it to be Christmas because I was like, what if everyone in the city is not Christian or whatever, people who celebrate Christmas? So I was like, let's have them celebrate the winter solstice, which is the longest day of the year. And my thought process was, since Blackriver is known as the darkest city in America and the days start to get shorter and nights start to get longer after the solstice, I would have them celebrate the day by, you know, having lanterns and floats that light up going around the city as an attempt to kind of ward off the darkness that like plagues their city. That's like the superstitious element of the parade, but that was pretty fun to come up with. And then transportation and infrastructure, also pretty boring. Environment and natural features, didn't fill this part out yet because it's not too important, but I do imagine that there's like a forest to the east of the city, and then to the west is the Atlantic Ocean. And there's docks and harbors and stuff like that. So, and then weather patterns, it rains a lot, and then when it gets colder, it hails and snows. So, and then they get snowstorms and blizzards and stuff like that. And then future Blackriver, I didn't fill out yet either because that would kind of be spoiling in case any of you guys end up reading this whenever I decide to publish it. And speaking of publishing, I did reach the 50K mark in my draft, which means I'm a little bit over halfway done. I actually went and mapped out how many chapters I have left about. I'm on chapter 20. I'm in the middle of chapter 20, so I went ahead and I'll show you guys in my notebook where I wrote it down. I have about, so chapter 19, I plotted all the way up to chapter 33. So we got about 13 chapters left. My average like chapter length is between 2.5 to 3,000 words. So let's just say 3,000 words. 13 times 3. Let's do some quick math real quick. Hold on. Quick math. That's 39,000 words. That's a little, I think I'm overshooting with 39,000. Let's just say 30. So 30 on top of my 50, 54, whatever I'm at right now, which would bring me around 80 to 90,000 words. I think that's a good spot to land. I think that's pretty normal for the mystery genre. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't done too much research into that part yet, as I am not much of a mystery reader myself, but I do enjoy mystery elements in books and TV shows and whatever. So yeah, there's that. But if you guys would like access to this template that I made for my city, because I'm pretty sure anyone who's world building, whether you're making a fantasy story or a science fiction story, or if you're building a modern city like me, you can use this template to just help you you know, brainstorm some ideas on what you want your city to be, what you want the culture to be, how you want to structure your government, and all that stuff. And this template can help you do so. So if you guys would like to, you know, look at the template and fill it out for yourselves, I have left the link in the description. You guys can check that out. Let me know if it helped you guys at all. I'll probably check back in with another vlog whenever I can come up with something fun to do, or if I just have anything I want to update you guys on, because I kind of don't want to just do a weekly vlog just for the sake of it, especially if nothing interesting is happening. Because I feel like, ooh, sorry, I was trying to make sure my microphone was still recording. But because I feel like if nothing's interesting happening, I can't make an interesting video. But this actually came up pretty organically because I needed to flesh out my city because I was starting to jumble up the details and forget things. So yeah, that's why we're getting this video. But if you guys have anything you want to see about my process, or you want to learn more about this project that I'm working on, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely consider incorporating your ideas into my next vlog. But that's all I've got. Let me know what you guys are working on, or if you guys are world building any part of your project, whether it be a city, kingdom, culture, or whatnot. I would love to hear about it, so let me know in the comments. And yeah, I've been LDJ Writes, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.